Hey, sweet beans. It's good to see y'all again, even if it's in a recorded format instead of a stream, but it's still good to be back in some way, shape, or form. Sorry I've been gone for so long, and I'm sorry I didn't follow through with making this video a year and a half ago. I said I would. I am making it. It's just a little bit late. A little bit late. Um, but I'm sorry that it took me so long. Um, I I kept wanting to wait until I knew better what to tell you, because I was pretty darn confused back then, and there's still question marks. At least now, though everything isn't a question mark. At least a lot of them are answered for me now. But I do still have some question marks. But I realized this last week that I was being silly by waiting until I knew everything to tell you what was going on. Uh, So I'm going to tell you what I know and what I can. I should have done that much sooner than I have. I used to be a perfectionist. I've gotten much better over the last decade or so, but I still have some of the tendencies from that. And in a situation of like informing people about something, I always feel like I need to have every I dotted, every T crossed before I tell them, and that's silly. Especially in a situation like this, I really shouldn't have waited this long to tell y'all what was going on. And I'm sorry, but I'm finally here now. Sorry for the butterflies that are going to randomly fly by periodically. Um, I didn't think to look to see if I could turn them off before I got this set up, and I don't want to get everything lined up again. It's not perfect as is, but I don't want to go try to get everything. I don't want to move. I don't want to move to reset this back up. I'm sure I'll get better at this in the future, but for now, this is challenging for me. So I'm going to leave it be. We'll have the occasional butterfly face through the camera and my skull, but don't mind them. They're ghost butterflies who I'm pretty sure escaped from Minecraft. But anyway, it really is good to see you all. I've missed y'all so much. I do hope this last year and a half of absence from my part hasn't made anyone feel like I'm not missing you, or that y'all don't matter to me anymore, because you do. You very much do, and I have been missing y'all constantly. I think about you all constantly. Most days, it's rare that a day passes. Actually, I don't think a day does pass that I don't think about you all. So I really have missed y'all a lot. And I know it probably doesn't seem like it, considering I just dropped off the face of the earth for a year and a half. But I'll get into that. But if I made anybody feel like I didn't care in my absence, I'm sorry for that, and please know that it's not the case. But when thinking about how to approach this video, I figured the best way to go about it was just to try to answer the three core questions, which is, why did I need to take this break in the first place? Why did it take so long? Or why has it been so long? And then thirdly, what does the future have in store? I figure that last one is probably what most people would like to know the most at the moment. So rather than keeping anyone in suspense waiting until the end of the video to find that out, I'll start at the end. But I will unfortunately say that's still where a lot of the question marks are. And I don't really know for sure. But I do know that I feel like things are, well, it's constantly felt like things are getting closer, but I think it's getting close. And I'm really, there's still more things to be done, but I feel like I'm getting close to being able to come back and stream at least some. And I don't know what that's going to look like yet exactly. I'll get into more detail as I kind of explain 1 and 2, because otherwise things won't quite make sense. But I do kind of want to, I guess I'll partially answer 3 for now, and say that I do want to be coming back to streaming, and it'll look somewhat more like this going forward, I think, or at least at start. I really don't know going forward into the future, but starting back out, I do want to come back with just chattings, and I'm probably going to do that in VR chat, not like a in-person stuff, just like just me in a world and talking to y'all. I've as y'all pretty well know, the part of streaming that I've always enjoyed is just talking with you all, because as I've talked about before, but just in case anyone isn't familiar with it with me, I don't really particularly care for streaming. I don't want to necessarily be a streamer, not for the sake of being a streamer anyway. I don't want to be an influencer. I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be an entertainer. I love consuming entertainment from other people. Nothing against it in the slightest. I think streaming is a wonderful thing. It's just not my cup of tea. And so that has never been why I'm here. I have always been here for you all. And so that's what I want to get back to. I tried once in the past and it didn't quite work. I think because I tried to do too much of it. So I want to give that another go and try to, focus on the part of this that I actually care about, which is all of you, and just being, spend our time together, just being engaged with y'all, and that's it. I'm terrible with trying to play games or stream. I'm not a multitasker. I'm terrible at multitasking, as y'all got to see plenty. So I want to try to stay away from that. I'll probably do like co-streams where I'll talk with, where I'll play games with other people, but I'm not going to be doing any more solo gaming streams. Or at least I don't plan to. I'm not going to say never, but I have no intention of coming back to that. And I also expect that when I come back, it's going to be a lot fewer streams. At first, at least, I expect it's going to be like 1-2 streams a month, which I'm sorry. I know that's not a lot, but it's what I can manage for time right now. It's and I'll get into more of that later. Sorry, need some sippies. Sorry for the audio. I'm more in hand tracking, so I can't really mute myself because I locked my controls so I won't go zipping around accidentally. But this is my second time recording this because OBS decided it wanted to not record the last video. I verified it was recording, then I come back, it's not, and the video doesn't exist, so it just completely ejected it. I don't know what happened. Hopefully it's not going to do that to me twice. We'll find out. But my throat's getting a little dry, but anyway, neither here nor there. But yeah, sorry. Get back on topic. I'm gonna be starting out slow, which I'll get to more explanation of why that is. So yeah, it'll be like probably 1 or 2 streams a month. It'll be just chatting streams, being in the format of me being so VR chat will be the venue. I got face tracking now. I probably won't be using the hand tracking because then I can't interact with OBS or anything. So unfortunately, I probably will have to use controllers. So I'll lose that bit of expressiveness, or at least in part. But I have the face tracking. I need better face tracking on this model, but at least it's some. It does add quite a bit of expressiveness even this way. And of course, I'll have my body trackers. So I'll be able to, I feel like, have more of a genuine, like face-to-face kind of an interaction with you, which is what is a vibe I want to go for. I want to give that a shot and see if that works and if that's something that is engaging enough for y'all to want to, keep going forward with. But we'll see where things go. But that's how I want to come back. And like I said, it'll be slower, but at least I'll be back. And I'm really looking forward to getting to see you all again. I don't know a time frame, and I'm not going to put one out there because I don't want to disappoint y'all if I don't wind up living up to it, and I don't want to press myself to wind up to try to force the date, because I don't want to misstep and wind up starting before I'm really ready, and then undo some of the progress that I've spent the last year and a half trying to make, starting off on the wrong foot. So, but whenever I do stream, I'll try to give y'all a good heads up. I don't know how much I'll be able to give, because I don't want to stop myself from streaming if it winds up being short notice, if I do get a chance. But I'm really kind of expecting to be probably, well, I'm not expecting, I'm going to try to do like a week heads up if I can. That way people can know it's coming and have some time, have the ability to kind of try to plan some time there if they're wanting to, if you're wanting to be at the stream or get to be there. So yeah, we'll see where it goes. Sorry, it's not more nailed down, and I know, yeah, that's part of the answer. That's where the question marks are. I feel bad for not being able to tell you more, but I don't want to hold everything else back just because I can't give you the details there yet, as I can try figure those out. And I also will say too, I'm not done with trying to build the community either. I don't want to give up on that. To me, that is a critical part of what I want to do here. So that is also going to be there still, but I also don't know exactly what that's going to look like. There are some things in the work. I have some idea of what that's going to look like, but nothing's set in stone yet, and that's still being figured out. And I don't want to say anything before it's ready and before it is set in stone, because I don't want to get anyone's hopes up there either, or cause any kind of confusion or anything if things change. So I'm just going to leave that nebulous for the time being until more is known, and I'll let y'all know whenever I know for sure, and we'll go forward with that together. But I'm looking forward to it, however it looks. Oop! What? Sorry. But yeah, because to me the community aspect of things is critical. My biggest want here has been to create a community where we can all have a place to belong and make the connections that we need. And I still want to be able to not just have a stream that gives that for just a little bit. I want to have a place where Beans can go and find that all day, every day as they need it, and have a community to feel at home at. Hopefully one of many, but there's some Beans who don't have any of that, and I still want that place to exist, and I want to do whatever I can to help provide that for the people who need it. That's something I went most of my life not having, and so that's still a passion to me to make that place, or make one of those places. Thankfully, there's a lot of people making those places these days, but I want to do what I can to do my part to help too, and that hasn't changed. So I may not know exactly what that looks like yet, but I know that's something I still want to do. So yeah, so now to kind of loop back around to where this all started, and why I needed to take this break in the first place. There was a lot of drama that happened, thankfully mostly behind the scenes in 2023. This was my last year before my break started. I think my break started in December of that year, if I remember correctly, just before my second anniversary. So yeah, I think it was. Anyway, so yeah, most of you, I think, should be unaware of most of that drama. I hope most everyone is. I do know there are people who were involved in one or more of them, but hopefully most of you are completely unaffected by them. But about halfway through the year of 2023, I was kind of becoming self-aware of some shortcomings I have, or had, and still have to a degree. But that I was becoming aware of something, of a problem, somewhere where I needed to change. And that shortcoming was harming pretty much everyone. It was harming me, it was harming the people I was trying to help, and it was harming the community. And I started trying to work through that and trying to improve in that area. And right around when I was recognizing that I was trying to make changes, some dramas popped up and kind of really reinforced that that was an important thing for me to change. Um, One of them came from me trying to make those adjustments, um, and the other one was unrelated, but still kind of just, well, it showed that. I don't want to beat around the bush with this. I also don't want to go deep into the weeds in this, but I guess I'll try to just say I realized that I was being overly compassionate with certain beings. Um, that was harming them in that I was enabling them to stay in bad situations, because I realized, like, we tend to make changes in our lives whenever things are not the way they should be, because that makes us uncomfortable in some way. That causes us discomfort in our life, and that discomfort drives us to make change. But if that discomfort is removed, then we're more likely to just be willing to stay where we are, even if it's continuing to harm us. Because moving is scary, and changing is scary, and it's difficult. So we tend to not want to do it if we don't have a reason to do it. And so if we're comfortable into that place, even if it's harming us, we tend to stay there. That's not true of everyone, but it's kind of just a tendency we humans have, I think. And so as I was putting a lot of effort into comforting certain people, I realized that I was making it harder for them to make the changes that they needed. So in other words, I was being counterproductive. I wanted to help them, but ironically, I was doing the opposite. And of course, I was making sacrifices in order to do that. So that was over time harming me. Because those kind of sacrifices are fine here and there, but if you're doing it constantly, that adds up. And then of course, with some of those beings, it wasn't self-contained. Some of them, it was just harming them, but some of them were also harming other people. There were some who were like harming other people like a lot, and we got rid of those beings. But there were some of the beings who were just being kind of obnoxious or something like that, where the harm was less obvious on the surface, but and it was something too that it was harder for me to recognize that was happening, because me being the way I am, I'm more tolerant towards obnoxious behavior, so it didn't bother me that much, and I failed to recognize how much it was bothering other people. Excuse me. Sorry, I can't mute myself because my hand controls being locked. But yeah, so I failed to recognize how much it was harming other people, but eventually I did realize it was doing that, and it was harming the community, and it was driving people away. It was making people uncomfortable being in the community, so they didn't want to spend time there anymore. But but that community was important because we need community. That's something we all need, and by me not doing a better job of protecting the community from those kinds of beings, that was harming the community, and I was failing in my leadership role there. And that was something I realized I needed to do better with. And that was somewhere where I needed to change. So as I started to work to grow in those areas and make those changes, that caused some friction with one of the beings that I was working with, as I suddenly changed how I was interacting with them. That caused some drama, and then some other drama happened with the being who was causing harm by just treating people the way they did. And I should have been better about putting an end to that. I was trying to help them get better, but I should have done a better job of protecting the community while I was trying to do that. And so that those two things that happened first just kind of really redoubled my determination to make that change within myself, and helped me really recognize the importance of that. But then in November and December, there were two more pretty big dramas that hit, and those were those kind of combination burnt me out, and also just really drove home that things had to stop. That stuff had to stop happening, and that's what ultimately led to the break. The burnout I could have gotten through, because I don't think it was quite a burnout. My batteries got drained. I was empty, but I think I would have recovered as the drama resolved. But what really led to the break was just recognizing that stuff just had to stop happening. And so in order for that to stop happening, I had to stop being overly compassionate, for lack of a better way to put it. I had to start being more firm with certain kinds of beings, or with certain people, and I found that part of me is so ingrained and so deeply a part of who I am. I couldn't figure out how to stop myself from being that way, in the way that I was being, and while still being who I am, if that makes sense. I hope it does. And so I found that whenever I shut that part of myself down and started taking more firm stances with the people that I needed to, I had to shut all of myself down. Not like all of my functioning, but everything that makes me in the community, me in general. All of my love for other people, my compassion, my understanding, and everything, all of those things that make me the way I am are all tied together. And when I needed to shut down one part of that, I couldn't figure out how to separate it out and keep being myself in general, while I was trying to learn how to do that part differently. And so I just, and I was kind of just doing an emergency stop, which at the time I believed was the right call. And I don't think I disagree with myself looking back. Like I said, I had to stop being that way. I had to change, and I wasn't accomplishing it in a reasonably timely manner. So I had to get more drastic with myself, and I found myself just kind of unable to function in the way that I need to be able to in the community, to be there for everyone. And so I wound up just kind of shutting down and not being able to proceed. So I just went on break because I didn't know what else to do. I couldn't keep going like that, and I didn't know how to change yet. So I stepped away. And I did need a break too, because again, my batteries were down. So I needed a time to recharge. I was going to take at least a couple months off regardless, just to recover from all the drama that happened. But at the same time, I just couldn't keep going, at least that way. I had to sort myself out before I could come back. At this point, I feel like I'm doing a lot better in that area. And I feel like I'm at a good place with that. I actually had something happen the other day that I was very happy with the way I was able to handle it, because it's not a way I would have been able to handle it before. And I was able to do what I felt like was appropriate, while still being everything else that is me. And then that is, I guess, becoming who I am now, which is, part of growing, part of improving is, we get better. And I think that aspect of me has improved, it's refined. It's still there, but now it's refined to be, not toxic anymore. Because compassion is a wonderful thing that's tragically very missing in the world these days. No, not missing, but there's so little of it, sadly, in the world these days. And it's a good trait to have, and I don't want to eject it from my life at all. I think it's a good thing, but everything has its place, and too much of even a good thing can become a bad thing. And I was practicing compassion in places where it wasn't appropriate. And I was being compassionate to one person in a way that then caused multiple other people to be harmed. It didn't even wind up helping that person I was trying to help. And so I had to learn how to be better in that area. And I feel like I have. And I think that's a big part of where I feel like I'm getting ready. I'm getting to the point where I'm more ready to come back and take another swing at things. That was far from the only reason why the break wound up being the break. That was just what started it. But that kind of, I guess, gets to why it's been so long. Because, I also needed to get my life in order in general. Work was a big part of that. Whenever I started streaming, it was fairly early on into COVID, and my work was, I was on an unusual team at the time, where most of my time with the company I work for has been very busy. But there was a couple of years there where I had a lot more free time than I normally have. I had a lot of time where I needed to look busy. And that gave me a lot of time to be engaged with the community, to be on Discord, to answer DMs, and just be in the community. Kind of watch streams in the background and build a chat with people, and be able to, again, be active in the den, keep the energy going there. And that was very critical to what I was doing. But as work in that last half of 2023, work was changing, and I was getting finally back into a programming position, which I had to fight tooth and nail for to get back to. But since I had been out of a programming position for a while, longer than those 2 years, it'd been about 5 years since I'd programmed. So I had a lot of catching up to do. I had a lot of stuff to kind of relearn and kind of get back into my head, and also a lot of new practices to figure out. And so I had a lot of work focus that I needed to apply, and I needed to be working a lot of overtime, which I did. And I really needed to be work focused for a good half a year or so there. Actually, better part of the last year. I say half a year. It's been about the better part of the last year. And I'm finally getting to the place with work where I also feel like I'm getting my feet under me. There's still going to be more bumps to come from me getting caught up with stuff. And as I'm running a new team, dealing with a new system, so I'm still learning a lot of parts of the system. There's still tons that I need to learn. So there'll be little bursts of time where I have to focus really hard on work to learn a new part of the system that I'm being asked to work on. That'll kind of, come and go. But I'm not going to wait for that to happen, because that'll be years in the making. So I'm not going to wait until that's all sorted. I think I'm in a stable of enough place to where my work isn't at risk anymore. I'm not going to become, to where I can't perform to the place where I can keep my job. And I think I was getting to that place to where it was going to be hard for me to justify my position with the company. And I like my job, and I need my job. I need to, I need income. So as much as I would love to work full time or just like building a community, unfortunately, we know that's not really a thing. I mean, outside of like a streamer community, yes, but I don't really want to be a career streamer. Y'all know that ain't my bag. And I really, just being a community builder and stuff probably isn't a viable way to go, at least currently. If that ever became optional in the future, that'd be very tempting. But for right now, I need trying to just maintain a good work-life balance. And I talked to my manager about that. I feel like I'm in a good place with my career too. There's no more rungs in the ladder I feel like I need to climb. Thankfully, before I started streaming, I actually, in the middle of that, I did make that last rung. Because I was kind of almost there whenever I started streaming. And I got to the place where I want to be. There was one more rung I I initially expected that I wanted to climb to, but if I did that, I don't think I would be able to do this anymore. And frankly, there are some benefits to that, being able to climb that last rung, but they're not things I need. And you all are by far more important to me than that. Um, where I'm at with work, I think lets me have at least a decent amount of balance with my life outside of work, that I can do this at least to some degree. Of course, even before, whenever I was ignoring basically everything else in my life to focus entirely on this, I still didn't have enough time. I'm never going to have enough time. If I did this full time, I'd still want more time, but at least I have some to give. And I feel like enough to be able to be meaningful. So my goal with work is to keep a balance such that work doesn't get left behind and I don't lose my job, but at the same time, I'm not going to be pushing to try to climb any more ladder there. I'm just going to try to stay where I am and stay good at my job, but keep my life outside of work etched out to where it's guarded from the company, so to speak, so that I can continue to invest in this and in all of you, and do what I can here. Hopefully that wasn't too rambly. I feel like it was, but hopefully that also made sense. So work is getting back to a good place as well. My house, I also very, very badly neglected my house over those 2 years. A lot of work needs to be done. I've got a contractor coming soon. He's supposed to start at any time. I don't know when I'm going to hear from him. That's one of those things. As soon as he finishes his current work, then I'll be next in line. But I just don't know when that's going to be yet. And I don't know how long it's going to take. Probably at least a month, maybe more. There's quite a bit of work that needs to be done, like a master bathroom be completely replaced, kitchen floor, work on the outside, and other stuff on the inside. But that's also not something I want to let completely stop me. That's going to probably take a lot of time, with me needing to pick everything out for it, make various decisions. I need to go do research and stuff to figure out what I want for everything. I've made some of that, but there's still quite a bit of that left to do. And of course, it's going to be hard to do streaming with a contractor in the house. So I don't know exactly if that's going to shut me down or not. And I don't know if I'll even be started before that starts. But that is a thing coming up. But at least that's going to take care of a lot of the issues with the house. There's still going to be more that needs to be done, but that at least gets a good chunk of it out of the way. And the other stuff that needs to be done is less critical stuff that I can kind of get to here and there and kind of balance in with things, I think. Because I need to get to where I'm keeping my house up. I need to stop. I don't need to be ignoring the house and letting my house get run down while I'm doing this. So that's something I'm going to need to learn to do anyway going forward, is to make time to take care of my place better. I was just doing the bare minimum in like taking care of the yard and stuff, but the house itself I wasn't doing right. So but I'm getting that sorted as well, getting that back to a good sustainable place to where I feel like I'm gonna be above water there as well. So I kind of feel like all the places where I was underwater, I'm above water now. And that's kind of why this break has been so long. I felt like like basically it was like I was kind of drowning in the ocean with a bunch of weights tied to my feet. And they weren't weights that I wanted to get rid of. They weren't, I hate to call them weights because they're all things I wanted, but they were things that were too heavy for me to swim with. And each time I would burn out, I would take some of those weights off and let them fall away. And that would make me, I feel lighter. I feel like, okay, maybe I could swim and make some progress to the surface and get my head above water now. And then it would wind up not working. I'm still sinking, even if I'm sinking slower, but I'm still sinking. And then I'd burn out again. And then I'd take a couple more weights off and I'd feel like maybe this is enough now. And then it wouldn't be. I'm sinking slower, but I'm still sinking. And so whenever I wound up being on this break, I decided this needs to be a reboot, like a hard reset, get rid of all of the weights, completely stop and get my life in order and get myself back to a normal place, get my head above water, get back to a good, healthy place, and then start putting things back on. instead of trying to take off enough stuff, just take off everything and then take back on bit by bit and find that right load balance from a healthy place instead of trying to claw my way back to that healthy balance from a bad place or from an unhealthy place. That just clearly wasn't working, and my desire to keep all of those things was very strong. So I just wasn't letting go of enough at a time. So that wasn't going to work. I wasn't going to manage that in a healthy way. I needed to just stop. And thankfully, about 6 months into my break, I met a group of beings that have helped with that. And one of those beings is very much a kindred spirit who has a very similar heart to mine. And I actually, when I met him, he was in the middle of a burnout as well, from also pushing himself too hard to try to be there for his group of beings and people in his life that he was trying to be there for. And long story short, we connected very quickly after we met, and we were able to get each other to stop, and get our stuff together. Because not too long after I met him was, I was really chomping at the bit to get back to this. I really have missed you guys, and I really wanted to get back to streaming, and I really wanted to get back to being with y'all again. And thankfully he was able to get me to come back from that and to stop. And he was able to snap me out of it and make me look at what I was doing and recognize that I can't do that. I'm not ready. There's way too much I still haven't got sorted. I'm still way below water. I can't yet. And then I was able to do the same for him, and we've been able to help each other through that, to both get back to a good place and get to where we're more stable and able to get back out there again. I feel like I'm approaching that place to where I can start to step back out. I'm not 100%, but I think I'm really close. Which is, again, the fact that I'm not 100% yet is why I don't want to put times on anything yet, because I want to make sure I'm really ready before I do step back out. But I feel like I'm nearing the end of the tunnel, so to speak. And but yeah, I was able to, so I met them, and that has helped me stay. Well, I don't know how to say this, but to stay back, I guess, because, I've hated that I've needed to be as distant as I've been, but that's been kind of a combination of things. On one hand, I've been trying to build a foundation with these new beings that I met, because they have been a very big support to me over this past year, and have really helped me stay stable as I'm getting myself back together. By the stay stable, I mean like to continue to focus on what I need to focus on to get myself back to a good place so I can try again. To not try before I'm ready. And they're going to be a big support going forward. And they're also just wonderful, precious beings with very similar hearts that I want to build a foundation with. So I have been focusing a lot of my time building that foundation with them. And that's been a big part of why I've been so continually disconnected. But it's also been, I think even without that, it needed to be this way, because I've had a hard enough time not coming back as it is. And if I'm in the community, I'm going to be engaged. And it's going to, I'm going to be I'm going to be back to focusing my time there, not on getting my head back above water. And I needed to stay focused on that, because a lot of time has gone into doing that. And which is why I've stayed as busy as I have, even though I've cut most everything in the community time-wise. That time is all gone to trying to get my life back together. And what social time I have had has gone largely to this new group of beings who is going to be a foundation for me going forward. And you should be getting to meet 2 of those beings at least going forward. If you're around me, they should be around as well. You should be getting to meet them. One of them, the one who is the kindred spirit, actually moved in a couple months ago. He's a new housemate. That's part of getting the house in order too. Is I'm also having to find a lot of places for stuff. With now all the rooms are full, so or have occupant. So I've also got some more stuff that's just kind of stuck in the living room that needs a home, and getting a lot of the house reorganized and stuff has been a big part of my time too. It's getting close, but still got a little bit more to go. But he's here, and you should be seeing a lot of him. He's a very wonderful and precious being, and we'll probably do some co-streams and stuff together and things, and you'll be seeing him around for sure. And then there's the other being, Fluffleroy. Phoenix is the first being. Fluffleroy is the other being you'll probably see around, and he is the one who helped me actually get my head back above water in that area of change where I felt like I had to hit the emergency brakes, because it was kind of emergency stop myself, because I could not disconnect that one part of myself to try to kind of rework it and not stop every part of myself. Kind of just shut down who I am for a time. But when I met him, he also has a very similar heart. He's a very loving and caring being, and getting to see him do his thing with people really helped kind of let me see myself from the outside in a weird way. I don't know if that makes sense, but it let me kind of see those aspects of myself from the outside, and and he didn't have that problem that I do, or that I did, so it helped me kind of see how things look without that, and so I could kind of separate that out from myself and work on it and start being myself again in the meantime. And that was about 6 months into the break that happened, and over the course of those months or the year since then, I've been able to work on that aspect of myself while still feeling like I'm me again, which has been wonderful. And I will say too, though, if y'all are interested, if any of y'all are on TikTok and would be interested in getting to see his stuff, he is a TikToker, and his name is Fluffleroy. It's FLUFFEL ROI. I don't remember if there's an underscore in there or not on TikTok, so try both ways, and I believe it's 2 F's. I'm pretty sure it's FLUFF. If that doesn't come up, try one. But he does encouragement and wellness videos, or shorts on there. He does typical TikTok shorts, like the size, lengthwise, typically. But yeah, he does wellness and encouragement videos on there, and they actually really are wonderful. I love his videos. They really are heartwarming and encouraging. So if you need a bit of encouragement in your days, or you could use some heartwarming content, I would really highly recommend you look him up and follow his channel. He's actually getting some good traction going. He's growing quick, because he really does make good content, and he puts it out regularly. So I would highly recommend y'all go give him a follow and get that bit of good vibe coming into your week every week. But yeah, hopefully you'll be seeing him around too, with things here and there. If you don't, go follow him there. He is a precious being. I hope y'all get to meet him in time. But yeah. So sorry, big long rambly mess of an explanation, but I think that covers all the areas where my life where I was very much underwater, and I think at this point things are my head's above water. I feel like I'm treading water pretty well. I'm not 100% stable, but I feel like I'm getting close. So yeah, I'm doing well, I think, and it feels consistent. Like I said, I feel like I think I said, I don't know if that was this recording or the last recording that didn't keep, and hope this was keeping. But yeah, couple, the other day where had a good encouraging thing in regards to the area of growth like I needed. And I feel like I needed. I feel like I'm doing well there. My house is getting better. Work is better. Everything still needs, growth, but that's part of life. So I'm not going to wait until everything's perfect because that's never going to be the case. But I feel like I'm in a healthy, stable place. And I think, the house is kind of the last big thing that needs to be sorted, and that's, I think, almost there. Unless stuff falls through with the contractor, then that'll be a bit more back up in the air. But at least that should be close to getting resolved. At least the critical stuff, and then the rest of it is stuff I should be able to handle, which will actually help me practice good balance anyway. So hopefully we'll be getting back to things soon, and I'll be getting to you guys at least once or twice a month. I'm not going to make hard commitment to that either. It's definitely going to be a as life allows sort of thing. I'm not going to try to force it. I'm not going to set a schedule either. So those will kind of come as they do. I'll try to I'll be trying to my best to give y'all heads up and warning in advance, just like for the first one back. But at the same time, if I just find myself with some free time and I'm in the mood, I'm not going to miss a chance to spend time with y'all just because I didn't get to give fair warning or give a heads up. So don't worry, I'm not gonna miss a chance for that, but I'm gonna try to if I can. So I'm excited. I'm really ready to get back to seeing y'all and get back into the community. I've missed y'all so much. I really hate that it's been as long as it has, but finally getting near the end of this break and of this period of rebuilding. I shouldn't have let it get to where it did, but this is how we learn. We make mistakes and we pick ourselves back up and we keep going, hopefully doing it better the next time. And being that this is my third time picking myself back up, hopefully I've learned a lot. I feel like I have. And this last time taking a very long time, and having some beans come in and help me as well, who are in a similar place themselves. So they're also able to pass on some of their lessons and everything, and can keep an eye on me too going forward. I think I'm in a much better place this time than I have been the last two times. I can't wait to be back. And I want to make sure too, I say that just in case it might come across that way, I want to make it clear that yes, the last 2 years, or not the last 2 years, the 2 years where I was streaming, it's been a year and a half since then. Yes, I overdid it, but I want to make sure y'all know I don't regret a single thing. I wouldn't change anything going back. We have a beautiful community, and those 2 years with the Den were two of the best years of my life. I don't regret a single bit of my time in those 2 years. I wish that the last year and a half wasn't needed. So I guess in a way, I wish I could have done things, but I don't know. It would have been different, and maybe it was worth it. I can't say because, there were some nasty dramas in the last year, but there were a lot of good things in that year too. And I think a lot of things are better for the Den and for this community. And I've gotten to see a lot of people heal and grow and have better lives because of this community, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. So I don't regret a thing of those 2 years. I wish the year and a half didn't have to be as long as they are, but I do strongly believe it has been what it's needed to be, and I hope that when I come back, it's the right time. I don't rush it, and I hope that time gets to be soon, because I've missed the heck out of y'all, and I really want to be back. I look forward to it a lot, and hopefully the streams will go well. it's been a year and a half. I know everyone's doubtless, I mean, of course, everyone's moved on a long time ago to other streams and stuff. If the streaming part doesn't work out, that doesn't mean it's over though. But we'll see how that happens. I'm excited for that part as well, and I'm looking forward to getting to talk with y'all and do the just chats. Always been my favorite part, and I really y'all are my favorite part. Y'all are what I love, and y'all are what I'm excited to get back to, and just chatting will be a good focus bit of just focusing on y'all a couple of times a month, I hope, or once or twice or whatever it winds up being, and I'm so looking forward to that. And maybe there'll be some co-streams and stuff in the future. Maybe we'll have some game streams with Magic and stuff here and there. But starting out, at least, I wanted to just be the core, chatting with y'all. Whatever comes after that, if bandwidth permits, we'll see what happens. But we'll discover that together, and hopefully we'll get to take another stab at this community thing together too. I really want to see that succeed more than anything. So we'll see where it goes. But yeah, hopefully it won't be too long before I see y'all again on stream, and I will try to be much better going forward with doing any announcements on Discord. As I come to learn or know more stuff going forward, I'll try to put announcements on there. Probably not videos unless it's something complicated. Probably be more just like text, quick update sorts of things and announcements to keep y'all up to speed with things as I learned them myself, and not wait until right before to update y'all again. Again, sorry it took so long to get to this one, but hopefully this kind of catches y'all up to where things are, and hopefully I'll see you all very soon. And yeah, I love you all so very, very much, and see you soon.